Today's Albion Online video is actually not going to be about the gameplay, a guide, or a how-to on Albion Online. Instead, we are going to talk about all the weird things like the story, how big is the world map compared to our real world, just a whole lot of little fun topics like that. Let's get right into it. The very first one that I want to talk about is how darned big is the world, okay? We have the royal continent, okay? Now, this is called a continent, not an island. All right, so it's pretty big, right? You know, it's a continent, right? And then you have the Black Zone, which is way up here. I don't know the name of this, but you can see it's really big. It's almost, if you look at the map comparison, look here in the bottom right. You can see that the Royal Continent is about half as big as the Black Zone, okay? So here's what I've done, okay? I wanted to see how long it would take for me to start at Step Cross and ride straight upwards as straight as I could through all the caverns and all the zones on a horse, full gallop, you know, all the way to the top, to one of these little tier 4 areas like Pinfanair, okay? So that's almost a full straight line from the bottom, you know, just cutting through the continent to the top, okay? And I also Googled how fast do horses run in real life. Some of the fastest horses at full sprint can run 55 miles an hour, okay? So the time it took me to get from bottom to top was, it was like 20-something-ish minutes. I forget the full math on it. But the calculations that I did was that the size from the length, okay, in miles, I don't know about kilometers, I'm sorry, I don't know kilometers, but from the bottom here, straight through, running through to the top, was something like 25 miles, is what I calculated. Now, I could be wrong, and I looked up this information. I couldn't find it anywhere. No one's talked about this kind of stuff. But just the length of the Royal Continent, 25 miles. So the length of the Black Zone from, you know, just bottom to top, which I refuse to run. I'm not going to do it. You can't make me do it, to the top here, would be around 50 miles, maybe more, maybe a little bit less. But that's what I'm going to say. 25 miles, 50 miles across, okay? So how big does that compare in real life, okay? Well, I don't really know any islands that are like 50 miles wide, but how about we compare California? You know, a lot of people know what California is. It's an American state in the United States of America. So let's take a look at California, okay? So here's what I found. Okay, Ontario, California, again, the United States. If you travel from Ontario to Beverly Hills, a lot of people know that from like movies, that's 50 miles, okay? So this here is the range of the Black Zone from bottom to top, essentially. It's about this far wide, okay? Now, I have satellite view, so if you zoom in, you know, you can see the size like of buildings and houses and stuff, right? Yeah, it's pretty big. You know, you're riding your horse through all of these zones, okay? And yes, I know there's a theory that, you know, each zone is just a little, like, block of action, that you're actually traveling even further than that. Okay, but what do you want to believe? Do you want to believe that the world of Albion is as big as from Ontario to Beverly Hills? Let's zoom this out. Look how small this is compared to a real-life continent, okay? This is just itty-bitty. Like, this is an actual continent, okay? This is North America, you have South America, you have Africa, and whatever this one's called. Don't hate me, I don't remember. But you can see here, this is an actual size of a continent, okay? So are we to believe that, like, South America here is like the royal continent, and that maybe Europe, China, Asia is the size of the Black Zone? Because I mean, that'd be cool, wouldn't it? It'd be pretty darn neat. But the reality is, just half of this blue line is actually the Royal Continent, okay? So, yeah. That's like a marathon. It's basically like 28 miles is a marathon, I believe. So, people can run that. And realistically, if you're on foot, just jogging through Albion, you can run through Albion from bottom to top in the Royal Zone in a reasonable amount of time. Probably faster than a marathon, actually. But yeah, so that's what I think about Albion's actual size. But this leads into more theories, and I'm going to get into that in a bit. But the next thing that I wanted to talk about is, have you ever seen children in Albion Online? I mean, like actual kids, actual non-adult NPC characters, okay? Have you ever seen them in Albion Online, okay? You can run through the city, you see all the player characters, you see the NPCs. And another thing I want to talk about NPCs too is, you ever get a Pokemon vibe from them? You know how, like, in Pokemon, there's, like, 30 different Nurse Joys and there's a bunch of Officer Jennies, okay? You ever feel like that in Albion Online? There's always the same repair guy. He's in this dude right here. He is in every town. He does the same repairs. You have, you know, this guy here, the little, what is he, the arena vendor? Same person, every town. Same goes for this doohickey here. The island vendor, you know, it's all the same lady. The market ladies are all the same ladies. If you have a bunch of crafting stations, they're all the same characters. It's very, very Pokemon-esque, isn't it? Okay, but, whoa, I don't want to go outside. No, what I'm saying is you don't really see children, okay? I have searched far and wide for children in Albion Online. I don't think they exist. Now, I found one thing, though. Let me show you what I found, okay? As far as kids go. I've looked through all the official art, and I've looked through all of the lore that I could, okay? And I've only seen 2 references to kids. I'm going to go with the first one here, okay? One of them actually dropped, I think, today or yesterday. And it is right here. Where is it at? Hold on a sec. So, we can see here, Bridgewatch, the statues went missing. This is on July 11th. This was 2 days ago. And this passerby commented, I wanted to take my kid to the Conqueror's Hall to show them the statues. And then the kid started crying, so thanks a lot, right? So this guy is upset that his kid is crying over missing statues. That doesn't sound like something kids would actually cry about. So I did more investigation, right? I was like, I don't believe there are children in Albion Online. I think this is a world of where children don't exist. There are no actual little young humans in this world. I've never seen them in the official arts. I've never seen them in the games. So what is he talking about? And I came up with this, okay? Well, let me see here. The kid is a baby goat, or a young goat, okay? We all know what the kid is. We all know what a kid looks like. It's this. The guy brought one of these to see the statues, and it started crying because it's a little small, timid animal that really likes statues, apparently. So maybe you guys can prove me wrong. Where are children at in this game? Because the only kids in this game are baby goats. All right. Before we move on, I want to show. This is pretty funny. I googled kids playing in Albion Online, and my video showed up. So I guess Google thinks I'm a kid. Now, the next thing that I want to talk about is Albion Online's story, okay? Now, I just want to preface this and say right now that everything that I'm going to talk about on Albion Online's story is purely my speculation and my opinion of what the story is. It is not official. It is absolutely everything that's coming out of my imagination. It's just for funsies. I don't need Reddit threads saying I'm misleading people and lying about the game's story, because this is how I view the story. This is just my opinion, okay? Albion Online doesn't really have a story. There's not like a go save the princess, go kill the big bad evil. You know, there's not like quest dialogue or NPCs that talk your head off about the lore and the background of the game. So everything I'm saying is just how I view the game and my imagination running wild. Alright, let's get right into it. So this is going to be kind of a meta level thing, okay? I know a lot of people are like, oh, Albion Online, there's the Royal Continent, and there's a bunch of factions, blah, blah, blah. I'm not going to talk too much about that. I'm going to talk about something deeper, okay? So Albion Online, alright, or just the world of Albion is what I'm going to be talking about here. And what I mean by that is that your very first introduction ever into Albion Online is probably the video where you've watched it, where the old guy's like, Albion Online is a sandbox MMORPG where you can write your own story. And, you know, it's been memed to absolute death. That is almost every single person's intro to the game, unless you played like in the betas or in the very, very start, you know, and you just happen to play it on a whim. It's just something that you heard about, something that you can do. And that's where the story actually begins. And let me explain that to you, okay? Every single player playing Albion Online right now, everyone in the chat, everyone in Bridgewatch, everyone in town that is a player character, they are all existing in a very advanced sci-fi society, okay? And let me explain what I mean by that. In the world of Albion Online, we are not in the medieval era. We are in the hyper-advanced space age. And let me tell you what I mean by that, okay? So what I mean by that, there's definitely spaceships, colonization across multiple planets. Humanity has solved all of its problems with hunger and health issues and political issues and everything. In the world of Albion, in the entire universe of Albion, it is a sci-fi hyper advanced society. Okay, and there's proof of this in a few ways. Okay, for one, the enemies that you encounter later on, like in Avalonian Roads and stuff, which is kind of a mistake. I don't believe the players were actually supposed to ever encounter those things. Those are kind of the underworkings of the world. I'm going to get more into that. They're robots, okay? Some people may think they're divine beings, like the NPCs and stuff, because they're programmed to think that way. But you see what I have in my weapons? I got some medieval weapons. I got a dagger. I got a crossbow. I have some, magically enchanted things that, for interesting enough as far as magic goes, it's the items themselves that are magical and not the wielder. Like my character, if I unequip everything, I can't cast spells. It's simply the weapon that allows me to cast the magic from it, okay? But besides weapons, medieval and magical, we have technological weapons like this energy shaper, okay? This is a literal cannon off a spaceship, okay? This right here shoots space laser beams. It shoots a giant space laser that will fry everything it touches. Look at this. This is not a medieval weapon. This is not magic. This is a damn laser cannon, okay? And this game is filled with small little things like that, okay? So technology is absolutely there. Robots have been confirmed in the game. There are machines, run by AI, and this is where it gets really, really deep, okay? And so now that we've established the outside world of Albion, now let's talk about Albion Online itself, okay? So we've already established that the size of Albion Online's royal continent is 25 miles across, okay? It's not that big. It's like a really big theme park. Now, I know what you're saying. It's not a theme park. It's a sandbox. It's a sandbox. And you're right. It is a sandbox. I'm going to get more into that in a bit, okay? But we also have, the Black Zone, okay, which is, 50 miles. 50 miles, and so we have 75 miles of... Well, I don't know how long crossing from this continent to the next quote-unquote island, it's not really a continent, not that far away, okay? You wouldn't be able to swim it, but you could definitely boat there. You don't have to use the teleporters. Of course, in the game you do, because that's how the company that runs Albion Online, Sandbox Interactive, okay? They're part of the story. I'm going to tell you this right now. Sandbox Interactive, the corporation itself, the mega corporation in this futuristic space world, is part of the story. And also, the people that bought them out, Stillfront, are also part of the storyline too in this sci-fi universe, okay? I'm going to talk about all that. It's going to sound really crazy, and that's what this video is all about. It's being a little crazy, okay? So, you as a person exist in the ultra sci-fi future with spaceships and cloning and every futuristic hoverboard thing that you can possibly imagine, right? Every futuristic anything, lightsabers and space travel and all that stuff, it's there. And you, as a citizen of whatever United Space Confederate, whatever there is, okay, that's not the important parts. What's important is that in this world, in this sci-fi world, humans have run out of things to be upset about. They've run out of things to have conflict over, okay? Obviously, in the perfect utopian future world, there is no violence, there is no crime, there is no killing, there is no pillaging, looting. You have everything handed to you. If you're hungry, a machine will 3D print you the most fabulous meal you can possibly think of. If you want to construct anything in this future, you can tell a machine to just create it for you. If you want to have a pet rabbit for a day, you can tell the little 3D printing machine, I want a pet rabbit. And then, lo and behold, it prints you a little 3D, realistic, with blood and guts rabbit. Like this little rabbit right here, we're just going to kill it, and it squeaks, and it's dead, and it'll be back in a couple minutes. And that's not a big deal, okay? But in this boring utopian future lies us, the players, the player characters of Albion Online. And in this future, we are the hyper-wealthy, we are the rich, we are the powerful, we are the influential, we are people who want something more out of life, okay? But, lucky for us, Sandbox Interactive came along, and they created Albion Online, a sandbox MMORPG where you can write your own story. And that's where we come into the story, okay? So, as you know, when you boot up the game, you basically spawn in naked right here at the lighthouse, okay? This is your first ever introduction. You're right here on the beach, and then you get to go through and you do the tutorial. Now, here's what happened before the tutorial, okay? You go to Sandbox Interactive. They give you a tour of what Albion Online is. They give you the intros. You got the old guy telling you all about how you can write your own story. And you decide that you want to play, that you want to experience something different than your boring sci-fi life. You want excitement. You want the thrill of battle. You want to fight people. You want to take their loot. You want to dive into dungeons. You want to fish. Okay, there's no reason to ever fish in a sci-fi future. You just print fish if you want to eat a fish. Okay, and most people don't. They just print little food pills and they eat the food pills, or they just don't need to eat at all because they have a synthesizer in their body that gives them all the nutrients they could ever want. There's no need to eat anymore, so people are bored. So, you know, powerful rich people like us, we went to Albion Online to see what it was like back in the day, back in the medieval days, back in the days where people had to, you know, brave the frontier and live off the land and you know, mingle with their fellow cowpoke folk. You get the point, right? So here we are. We've signed up for this service. You know, we've been screened psychologically and physically and to make sure that we're up for the task. And essentially, we've entered the theme park of Albion Online. And the entrance is you are delivered to the lighthouse. They knock you out, of course. They put you to sleep, you know, cryo sleep, slumber, whatever, you know, shoot you through space. And then you just like part of what you've signed up for, you wake up on this lighthouse, on this beach. And that's where your journey begins. Now, you meet a lot of NPCs and even NPC bandits. But here's the thing, okay? Even though we're in the future and we can get cloned back to life and it's not a big deal, it's still kind of a big deal to people to be actually maimed and killed and murdered, okay? And let's talk more about that. So Sandbox Interactive promises that the NPCs in the world of Albion Online will not ever actually kill you or maim you or permanently damage you. They can knock you out, they can knock you down, they can hurt you, but they can't kill you. So this explains why when we are playing that if a bunch of mobs down us, we lose a little bit of our repair bill, and we can get back up on our feet and try again. And the mobs will stand there and let us have our little bubble, our little shield, where they won't touch us until we're ready to fight again, essentially, right? So that is part of the theme park of Albion Online, okay? Think of something like Jurassic Park, where the dinosaurs are kind of programmed not to eat your face. Right, you know, they have a chip in them that makes them unable to actually kill you. They can knock you around and bite you, but they won't bleed you out or rip off arms and limbs, okay? Because realistically, if you're up against a bunch of bandits and they knock you down, in the real world they'll just stab you and bleed you out and take your stuff, right? But in this world they can't because SBI has programmed them not to. They are realistic AI machines that you know, have actual human guts and organs, because that's the cheaper way to do it. Here's the thing, right? Everyone thinks of these little theme parks with robots and animatronics and stuff, but the reality is it's cheaper just to 3D print the blood and guts rather than, you know, use titanium or metal for the NPCs, right? You remember this rabbit that I killed a little bit earlier? They just printed that rabbit and set it out on this little island that they have for me, and I killed it because that's what I want to do, because in perfect space, you know, sci-fi world, you don't get to just go kill rabbits. It's not just something you do, okay? See, I just killed that rabbit, and deep underground, SBI is reprinting a new rabbit to repopulate this island later with, okay? You get where this video is going here? You get where I'm talking about? Okay. So you're on the island, and you know, you do your tutorial, and you go to the main land. You've completed the tutorial. SBI is like, you write your own story. And here's the thing. This is why people in this sci-fi universe are playing Albion Online. This is why they're signing their, you know, it's like a little vacation for them, okay? So here you go. You end up in Step Cross, and you got these little NPC things to help you on your adventure, and, you know, you do some little basic quests, right? And this is just SBI getting you involved in the game. You're obviously in the blue zone. Other players can't hurt you. All right, if I go to the blue zone and I try to swing my 8.3 axe at another player's head, there's something mysteriously stopping me from doing so. It's possibly a computer chip in the axe. It's possibly the island itself, or who knows what. But whatever the reason is, I can't defy the island's rules, okay? The island says in the blue zone, I cannot hurt another player at all. I can't even spit in their face. I can't even kick them in the shins. No, I can't even shoulder check them like a bully at a school in a hallway. So, you know, and that's how it is by design, because it's a sci-fi world, and I just can't do it, right? But, you know, people needed more excitement, because if you just had only the blue zone, then people won't keep vacationing here or spending their money to be here at the Albion Online, you know, world. So, as you travel further and further into your own sandbox MMORPG experience, you come to the yellow zone, where now SBI, remember, the mega corporation that runs this entire island, they are like, hey, we know that sometimes fighting our little AI robot machines not so fun. So how about y'all can fight each other, but we're gonna prevent you from doing any real damage. So the little microchips in your axe go bleep bleep, showing that you're now in the yellow zone. And now I can go, if I want to. I have to actually pull out a device and declare myself as PvP hostile. This signals to the island, to the team underground, underneath the island, that are you know, monitoring the island, making sure all the players aren't murdering each other or breaking rules or doing things they shouldn't be doing while on the island. Okay, think of it like Six Flags or Disneyland or Universal Studios security. They're there monitoring to make sure things are all working correctly, right? So I bleep bleep bloop, you know, and I'm now flagged for PvP in the yellow zone. So I can run up to a player, and I can just start attacking him. And he's aware that, you know, he can be attacked by me, but I'm not allowed to kill him. I cannot chop his head off, I can't take his stuff, I can't rip his arms off or, you know, kill him, essentially, right? I'm not allowed to do that, because the island doesn't let me. Because that's how it's programmed, right? That is absolutely how it's programmed. So, you know, that adds some thrill and excitement. People come here in their boring sci-fi life because they don't get this excitement outside of their normal job of mining space rocks or, you know, using medical beds to heal people or whatever the heck it is. They get the raw, real experience, but without the danger and without the brutal killing and pain and suffering that, you know, would potentially happen, right? It's again, it's like a little vacation thing. The NPCs, of course, they are there for you to kill. They are there for you to steal from, to take their loot, take their money, do what you can do. You can do anything to the NPCs, okay? Have you seen some of the NPCs in Albion Online? Have you seen how their bodies are built? Have you seen how voluptuous they are created that way on purpose, okay? Even in the Morgana NPCs are created in a certain way to give a certain taste for certain clientele, so to speak. Okay, after all, every single player that you see in Albion Online, like this guy riding his little elite terror bird, he's on vacation from his space adventures. He wants to ride out on the frontier, on the plains, and if he wants, he wants to experience raw combat with a lifelike creature, humanoid individual, you know, if he wants to, like me. I just slayed this woman, okay? Obviously, outside of Albion Online and outside, you know, you're not supposed to kill people. That's horrible. They die, they're dead. In the sci-fi space age, you know, you can clone them back, and it's a little messy. They might forget a few things. It's not the prettiest of things, right? But here, we know that they're not real. They're here for us to kill. These little animals, these lifelike animals, they are here to enrich our experience while we vacation in Albion Online. So if I want, I can kill this animal. I could do whatever I want to the animal. I could, anything that I want, anything that you could imagine, you can do in Albion Online, right? So where does that lead us right now? Well, eventually people get kind of bored of that too. You know, they're vacationing, they like the little adventures, they like to mess with the other people, but they can't kill and maim each other, okay? And this is where things get a little bit off the rails, okay? Because, thanks to the cloning and the technologies of our future, they have introduced the red zone, which is, you know, it's like the yellow zone, but you can actually die to other players, okay? And whether or not this was intended, or whether or not, the company originally planned this, which let's just say that they did, they had some very sick, scummy corporate goons that really wanted actual vacationers, actual customers of their island to engage in actual full combat PvP. But why would a corporation want their customers killing each other? And that is because of the data, okay? The data that is that they can collect on full combat can be sold to high bidders. All right? So, everything you do in this world is monitored. Like this guy, Bright Smiley here, who is fighting with a battle axe, who was recently downed. Luckily, they're in the yellow zone. Their character's a little beat up. They're just resting a bit. It's all good. They're in the yellow zone. That data that the company collects is sold to the highest bidders, advertisers, because, again, the future, that's all it is. All right? They want to see what the guests are doing on their island, because in the real world, in the real sci-fi world that we exist in, you can't cut loose and do these things. You can't just, there are no animals in the future. Entire planets are turned into cities, okay? There is no, you can't just go out onto the frontier and chop some trees and skin some animals and beat up some bandits and take their stuff, or beat up, or become the bandit yourself. You're just not allowed. If you do break a law in the sci-fi world, satellites immediately, detect that you've done a criminal activity, and you're surrounded by robot alien space cops that immediately arrest you and sentence you to the mines to, do hard labor and hard time. But people that are bored with their jobs can come here and live out their fantasies of fighting, scantily clad women and chopping up their bodies with axes and killing animals and looting all their stuff and like ripping up this person's cape because I can, because maybe that's what I want to do, Whereas in the real sci-fi world, that would be property damage and not allowed, and you absolutely can't kill him. There isn't even axes. Like, you try to print a hand axe, and you're not registered as a lumberjack or something in the future, well, too bad. The 3D printer will go, you're not allowed, doot, and you have been reported to the authorities. But here in Albion Online, it's like a vacation. It's like an experience that people will remember. The reason why people come here to Albion Online, and the reason that SBI created Albion Online, is so that you can see what your true self is, okay? Business dweebs, people that live timid little lifestyles where they just grow up and get married, they come here to vacation in Albion Online, and then they learn who their true self really is, okay? You might come here, you might be the hero, you might want to save the rancher's daughter, you might want to take her out on little adventures and get her back home safe, but then you realize that you kind of just enjoy killing everybody. So you ride around Albion Online and you just start killing everybody, and you get loot, and you get more powerful, you get more experienced at fighting other people and the NPCs on the island, of course. And so your true self starts to show. And you don't get to experience that outside of Albion Online, okay? You back in your normal sci-fi world where you're working in the asteroid mines and you're mining asteroids. It's everything is so automatic and just it's just sterile. But here it's wild. It's raw. Look at this person. Just took him down. And, maybe my character took pleasure in taking that person's life. Now, obviously, we know that that's just a robot NPC, that it was created by SBI. And right now, they're 3D printing another one to put right back out on the field in a little bit. Same thing with chopping down these trees. They'll just print more trees, and they'll pop back up right out of the ground, ready to go for the next people on vacation, okay? But they introduced the red zone, like I was getting at, where you can actually kill other players, and you can actually experience death and loss. Okay, sure, in the sci-fi world, people die. They might get crushed in an asteroid mine in a horrible accident, but luckily for them, they respawn right back at the hospital with their memory wiped of the trauma, and they've got most of their bodily functions back, depending on the medical space station that they respawned at, and they're all good to go right back to work like it never happened. But here in Albion, you remember what happens, and you remember that you had 20 guys show up and basically just fill you full of crossbow bolts and claw scratches, and you lay there bleeding and dying as they take all of your hard-earned stuff from you. And then you wake back up you respawn, because SBI, you know, the island, it has the same medical beds, the same medical treatment. They get you nice and cloned back up. You've respawned at wherever you decide. You can tell them, I want to respawn back in my house. I want to respawn back in town. Okay? And so you do. And then you can seek revenge, or you can seek out other adventures. All right? And that's what Albion Online is. It's where you can discover your true self, where you can go to find out who you really are and not who society wants you to be. You know, heroes come here and they end up villains over the 30 plus years that they started out saving the rancher's daughter, but then they grew up to be the guy that wears a whole black suit, the Hellion jacket, and they run into town and they just, blow up like 100 dudes, But it gets even more corrupt and crazy than that, okay? Because, SBI, they like to play their own game. They're pulling all the strings, controlling all the shots. But then you have these heavy investors that come in, okay? And they play the game, and they're like, man, this is really something else. We can absolutely harvest everyone's behavioral patterns and trends and see what they like and don't like and sell their data and whatnot, right? And so Stillfront comes along, and they put some money on the table. And they put that money on the table, and they're like, we like what you're doing here, but we want control. And so SBI is like, yeah, we like money, so here you go. And now you have Stillfront in the underground little laboratories monitoring everyone's player activity, okay? And that's when things start getting wild, okay? You start getting these Avalonian portals that start showing up, okay? Which just teleport you all over the island. The Avalonian portals weren't always dangerous. What they used to be, those were the tunnels that the employees used to get around the island faster if they needed to, maybe fix something out. Like maybe a player came by and actually destroyed one of these outposts, okay? Which, maybe it happened. Okay, out of character, you can't destroy an outpost. You can kill the NPCs, but you can't really destroy the buildings. But let's say someone somehow did, like a glitch in the Matrix allowed them to destroy the outpost. Well, the SBI employees would pop out from underground from, the Avalonian portals, and they would come and they would fix up they'd freeze all the NPCs and fix up the little outpost there, and then they'd go back in their portal and they're good to go. But something happened horrible. All right, the NPCs that were being, well, there's so many things for sale now, what the hell. The NPCs that were being repaired underground and reprinted and forged, someone put a buggy code in them, and what happened? They revolted. The NPCs rose up and slayed the SBI employees, and that's when the Avalonian Roads started happening, and that's when the new narrative began for Sandbox Interactive and Stillfront, right? Okay, so the new narrative with the Avalonian Roads and the mysterious portal in the middle. This is actually just, the headquarters. This is just where all the wages for SBI and Stillfront, they do their work. They have their big command center. They can see every player and what they're doing. The players are known as guests, by the way, and guests on the island. And the NPCs, I don't know what they're called. You can call them hosts if you want. Does anyone know where I'm stealing all this lore from? Let me know in the comments if you know what this entire video is referencing, because I'm curious. I just started watching it like a couple days ago. It came out like 2016. I'm not going to spoil it or name it or out myself, but that's what this video's been. It's just paraphrasing in a TV series. It's Albion Online, because I don't have any video ideas. How much is this? 62 million. I could buy that. But why would I? Why are these offers? Are people quitting? What's going on here? It's a conspiracy. It's part of the lore. Anyway, so what do we do as players? Well, we had the Black Zone. Where things got a little out of control. And, we can still go have fun, but it's full loot PvP all the time from other people. There are factions now. There are other companies in this sci-fi world who have realized the potential of Albion Online, and they have gone in there, they made their guilds, they've made their hideouts, and so it's like Coca-Cola versus Pentium versus Oscar Mayer versus like Rubbermaid. I'm just naming random brands, okay? And so they've got their goons in here, and of course they don't call them Coca-Cola or Rubbermaid or G-Force. No, they let's see what they call them actually. Let's go to all time. They call them Blue Army, okay? That could be Pepsi. We got Awful Company. Well, that could be Ford Motors, okay? Well, whatever space companies in the future are, maybe they're not changing their name. Maybe Tidal here is a space conglomerate, that monetize tidal waves in ocean planets or something, okay? I don't know fully exactly about the companies of the future, but that's what happened, is these companies came in and they put their home in the black zone. And Stillfront and SBI are like, hey, we're getting a lot of business and money, and we've got a whole different demographic going on here. We've got politics and stuff, because remember, in the future there are no politics, because space and technology and sci-fi stuff make it a perfect world where everyone agrees with everything, but it's really boring. And so the whole point of coming here to Albion Online Island is to find your true self so you can write your own story, which means discovering who you really are. And for me, I'm a guy that just plays in the yellow zone. I do my farming, I kill the NPCs, it's all good. I don't really bug the other guests of the island too much. Sometimes I'll beat them up in the yellow zones, but I never actually murder them or take their stuff. Mostly because everyone groups up anyway, but, that's just my story. What is your story of Albion Online? Well, what do you think the lore is like, huh? Do you think this is actually a medieval world? Nah, it's sci-fi. You go to the Avalonian roads, you see the robots. You go to the Avalonian raids, those are the guards of the of SBI and Stillfront, the mega corporations behind all of this. That's the lore. That's the lore that I'm giving the game. That's the lore that I think. And if someone wants to say that it kind of sounds a little like Westworld, then yeah, you're probably right. Okay. Anyway, I hope you had fun with this video, because I don't know what to make videos about, and if I stop making videos, I die in real life. So if you don't want me to die in real life, then make sure you're subscribed and watch tomorrow's video, and the video after that, and the video after that. And how did I lose? Oh, I was like, how did I lose money? It's because I killed mobs while running around. I was at 10 million, now I'm at 9.97. Urgh. And someone added me to friends list. I don't know you. Talk to me first. Guys, if you want to help me financially, click the thanks button down below the video. Right below the video, there's a thanks button. And if you want to become a channel member, it's $5 a month. Click the join button for that. It'll give you access to private, more personal, members-only videos, which you can see a playlist of in the pinned comment, okay? That is $5 a month. It's like being a Twitch subscriber, but it's way better than Twitch because it's YouTube and it's me. So thank you so much for your support. Make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss tomorrow's video. Take care, lads.